Hey everybody, Mike Henson here from No More Excuses and ALS News Now. Got a really good interview for you today. This one is strong. This is a must-watch for the ALS community. We have a young man here, 30 years old, Josh Smith from the Jersey Shore, as he likes to say. We had a nice little chat about Snooki and stuff and Pauly D. So reminds me of Eric in some ways. Is athletic, 30-year-old who's in a tragic situation. This one leaves very little doubt, I think, in my mind. I don't know. Ultimately, it's your opinion, but some of the questions I tried to ask him were how he was then versus now. And so I want to introduce you to this young man, and we'll have a brief discussion afterwards. But this is the discussion about the Phase 3 NurOwn trial, and this is young Josh Smith. Here we go. All right, everybody. So with that, let's bring in Josh Smith now. What's going on today, bud? How you feeling?
What's going on? I'm feeling good. Another day's a good day. So
You sound good and you look really good. So do you want to just take a second to introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you?
well, my name is Josh Smith. I'm 30 years old. I was diagnosed a little over a year ago now. My symptoms started, I don't know, 2 years ago. Started with like mild weakness in my hands and all that everyone hears, and
Right?
played sports my whole life, football,
Okay.
championship, all the good stuff.
Yeah, let's look at one of
So
those now. There you are right there. Tell me a little bit about this
yeah,
picture.
that's me and my mom right after the state championship game. So I was lucky enough to win one of those. Was in two others. So
That's amazing,
yeah,
man.
that's a proud mom right there, to say the least.
Boy, she looks like it. You're a beast too, man. What are you, like 6'4", 240? What?
Yeah, I wish I was 6'4", 6 foot, 6 foot 215 at that time.
Oh, there you go.
But
There you go.
yeah,
All right. Okay. And where you live now? Where are you from?
I live in New Jersey. Lived here my whole life, South Jersey.
Okay.
The Jersey Shore, as you like to put on TV these days. I go to the club, do a little fist bumping, I guess.
See
But
Pauly D a
you
lot
know,
running around a lot anywhere. You see
yeah,
those guys. And
yeah.
what was the other?
We
What
got
was the
all
girl's
that
name?
Snooky. You know.
Snooky. All right.
Oh man.
You tell us about your first symptoms. Like, talk to me a little bit about how you first knew something was wrong, buddy, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, as you can see with the wood flag behind me, I'm
I
a
can.
carpenter by trade. So yeah, it all started with tools. Like
Okay.
the smallest thing, holding a hammer or anything, trying to grip a nail. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, as a football player, thought it was a football injury, arthritis, carpal tunnel.
Right.
So I started going to the orthopedic,
Okay.
and it's actually diagnosed with carpal tunnel at the time. So I
Aha.
started getting the shots and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Nothing, kept on getting little weirder things, my balance, slurring a couple words, but
Sure.
and then I just told my parents, I said, something's just not right. I mean, I feel I'm not right. We said, let's just keep on going. So went to the neurologist, and step by step, test after test. It gets pretty bad when you're hoping to hear a herniated disc or something like that.
Yep.
But everyone kept on saying, is you're a healthy young guy, healthy young guy. Little did they know the monster that was brewing. So
It's crazy, isn't
yeah,
it? How we're perfectly healthy except our motor neurons are dying. I mean, that's something you can't even like visualize.
but
How's that even
first of all,
possible, right?
what the heck is a motor neuron? I'm 30 years old, like, you never imagined million years, like,
It's
it's
terrible.
crazy.
Eric Stevens is also the same age as yourself. I'm sure you know who Eric is,
Yeah.
and it's so unfair. And that's why we have to get these new treatments done. And it's for you guys, man, to have a chance. You know what I mean? And for
Yeah.
everybody, frankly, with ALS, to hopefully we can get some of the more progressed people as well. We don't want to leave them out, so we want to make sure they get a chance to try this too, because it seems to be showing some pretty good results in the upper motor region, which is good for breathing.
Yeah.
And so maybe some of these people can get off of their assisted breathing devices, which would be amazing, right? So, um, okay, so you go in and you get tested, and I guess you got the EMG, right? So you got the shocker, basically.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
like I got a whole bunch of needles the first time, and that's when they diagnosed me with carpal tunnel.
right.
And then it was still not right, and that's so I went back and all in all had like 3 or 4 of them done
Okay.
between different neurologists trying to confer and
Of course.
whatever. And then I went up to Rutgers, who has a specialty clinic for ALS,
Okay.
and then that's where it was officially diagnosed there.
Is that where you heard about the trial? I guess that's my next question. How did you find out about the trial?
Yes, it was, but that whole experience of finding out you have ALS is not like anything else. I mean,
That's for sure.
first thing, you want hope, and they tell you and walk out the door. It's what's next, Nothing. They give you no choices.
That's right.
Doctor came back in, I don't know, let's say 20 minutes later, we're still in there crying, the family,
Of course. Absolutely.
And she said, well, there's a couple things in trial. Nothing's a given, obviously.
Okay.
There's one where they can insert a port and all that good stuff. And
Got it right here myself, brother.
I don't know what that is.
Right.
And then she said this was March of last year, so this was when the trials were just opening up.
Okay.
And she said there's a promising one in phase 3, which is usually don't see anything get to phase 3. So we applied for it through Mass Journal, but they were full at the time. And then right after this, your world's swirling. Our parents are figuring out they're going to sell the house, move, or whatever, So we call our realtor, and her aunt had ALS, and she got in touch with this Joan Dancy Foundation that's a local ALS group in New Jersey. Okay. And they're amazing. Amazing. And so everything they're doing for me is great so far right now. But then they got in contact with Carol from TDI up in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And then she flooded every aspect she can to get me in somewhere. And then she found in UMass an opening. So
that's great.
That's June. So 3 months from being diagnosed, I was in the trial. So
that's amazing.
Amazing itself.
Well, let's give credit where credit due there for TDI, and we thank you for doing that. That's the thing. A lot of stuff happens behind the scenes, Josh, and while we may not all agree on everything all the time, one thing we do agree on is something like this, and I would like to say thank you to them for doing that for you. Talk to me a little bit now about the trial. So you finally luck out and you get in, right? And you're happy about that, obviously. Yep. But people should know this is not an easy trial. It's pretty difficult. They do a lot of they stab you a lot, in the lower spine. And there's 14 total trips. So you had to go up to Boston, right? And so talk to us a little bit about that first visit when you went in and you got that lumbar puncture. How did that go, and what were you feeling at that moment?
Well, from sports, I wasn't easy lumbar puncture, but like you said, it's not an easy trial. There was months of testing beforehand to even see if you're eligible, so there's the whole summer. My first injection was September, so I wasn't easy. The first one took 5, so it's harder to get in the vertebrae. So, as many sticks as it wasn't painful, because it was the procedure itself. I was in the operating room, it was good. They're so nice. They treat you like a king when you're there. But as far as pain, no pain. Recovery,
okay.
It's annoying more than anything, laying on your head upside down for that little bit of time. But
that's right.
That's what it takes.
That's what
you
it
can
takes.
Hold me
right?
up there for as long as it takes.
Absolutely. So you go back home now after getting your bone marrow aspiration, and You know, of course, you have to go to another visit so they can check your progression. There's other visits as well where you're not getting anything. In fact, most of your visits, you're not getting
Yeah.
anything. So you have to
It's
go up there.
80% of them. It's only
That's true. That's
that you're
true.
getting injections, and the rest are
Yes,
blood work or
that's right.
lumbar punctures to check your levels for the study.
Absolutely.
And
Talk to us a little now about your first injection, if you don't mind.
first of all, first injection, I mean, you go in, they all set you up for the operating room, get
Right.
the IV and all that good stuff. They roll in and lay on your side, and the local anesthesia
Mm-hmm.
just on top, a little prick. That's the worst pain you're gonna feel of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
They wait for it to numb up. They go in, they give you the injection, they wheel you out, and then it's a series of inclined positions for 2 to 3 hours. And
Okay.
after that, 24 hours in the hospital being checked, make sure everything's good, and then
Right.
you leave. So,
Did you have any soreness after your injection in your lower back or anything? What were
no,
some of your
no
symptoms?
soreness.
Okay.
I mean, you had a needle in your back, so it's a little tender, but it's not,
But you didn't have a fever or
so
some of the other symptoms that other people
no,
might
no
have experienced.
fever, no,
Okay.
no
Okay.
headaches.
Okay.
That's one thing. There was headaches
Yep.
because the main thing is, because it's going into your spinal fluid, so it travels up,
Right.
and you usually get a headache. Headache is the one thing they say, but they suggest a little bit of caffeine
Yep.
to level you out, and
Okay.
that's it.
So after your first, injection visit, you go home and tell us a little bit about when you kind of think you might just start feeling differently, if you did. Talk to us a little bit about that first. I guess.
Yeah, well, prior to me going, we took a family trip out to Utah. It's kind of like a giant bonding experience. Like I was saying before, my legs were super tight, cramping,
Okay.
all that stuff. Twitching,
Oh yeah.
and then the first injection, I wouldn't say like right away I felt change. I wouldn't say
Wow.
it's dramatic change either. It was more or less tightness. I
Okay.
could walk a little easier.
Right.
It's the biggest thing is I wasn't progressing
Okay.
compared to how it was from June. Just got in to
Okay.
September, right before
Okay.
I was progressing pretty quick.
Pretty quickly. Okay.
Then these injections started, and then I feel like I leveled off during the course. And then my last one was almost a month and a half ago now. So
Okay. Okay.
my last
Um,
visit is Thursday via conference.
so you've had all three now, and you would say that you stopped progressing. Do you feel like you regained anything, or was it mostly that you stopped progressing, or what are your thoughts on
I
that?
would say like I said, none of us know if we got a drug or not. If I
Absolutely, and
got, it's all hopeful.
of
It's
course.
that's all it is hope. So is it the drug or is it me or I can't tell or I won't find out till hopefully they release the data of what I got.
Right.
But so I I believe I got it. I mean,
Okay.
here's still no one levels out with this disease. It just ramps up and takes everything. So
It sure does. I do. And so that's why I think, one of the frustrating things about this trial, Josh, is that, patient, it's based on the ALS FRS score, whether or not it's, slowing down or stopping, which is pretty much the only primary endpoint we have in ALS. So what really is frustrating, though, is there doesn't seem to be much of a desire, or there's a hesitancy by the FDA to accept the word of the patient as, yes or no. In other words, they want more and more data.
we're not about numbers here. I, ALS community can care less if it's 5% helpful. If it's 5% helpful, give us that chance to have that 5%. It's
Absolutely.
it's our life. Let us make our choice. You know,
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're actually fighting for is for the earlier approval of this therapy. If there's any way we can expedite this, because we got a lot of people out there, buddy, that are hurting right now, and we've got to get this drug to them. They've got to, you just said it, they've got to have their chance. It's not fair. They've done the right thing all their lives. They've been good tax-paying Americans, and to be told by a group at the FDA, sorry, you can't have this, it's tragic. It's happened over the course of many years. This is the 10th year in trial for NurOwn. Is there any doubt in your mind that you at least stayed where you were? Is that kind of the best way to describe your personal experience with NurOwn?
Like I said, from the time I was in the trial getting the injections, I feel like I stayed the same. But since I've been off the trial, I feel like I progressed a little bit. But
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely got to be a constant thing. I feel. I mean, if this is it, it's not like, oh, get 3 injections and you're cured.
Of course.
It's a treatment, just
That's
like
exactly right.
the diabetics. You got to take their insulin shot. We need to get our NurOwn injected into our spine. So
Well
so
said.
be it.
Until something better comes along, and I think that may be where the ALS train has gone off the rails over the years, is that we focused way too much on a cure only and not enough on therapies that could buy us some extra time.
We've seen cases where people got better very quickly, but we don't know enough to say that they actually stayed better. And so promising is really the best we can say at this point.
Tell me who this is, buddy. This is you in the middle, obviously. So
Yeah, that's my beautiful niece in the center. My sister, my brother-in-law, my mother and father.
You guys went up to Utah, and you used a walking stick. Did you? Where? At what point in the trial was that? That was right at the beginning, right? You said.
That was right before I started. That was September. That was
September.
Right before we were starting this whole journey of this trial. We said, let's go out there, and because like we're from New Jersey, never been out that way, so
that was
had to go across off the bucket list.
Absolutely. That was 7 months ago. Let me ask you this: do you think you could do the same trip today?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. That's amazing. That is amazing to me. I went downhill in 7 months so far. I couldn't even climb stairs after that point. So, do you have anything else you'd like to say in general about this, about ALS? Is there anything? This is your chance, man, to make an appeal or to say anything that you'd like to say.
I got a lot to say, but I don't know. I feel with COVID-19 going on, the world is coming together so much for this disease that killing 2% of its victims. This disease is killing 100%. I know that's all we hear, but it's true. I mean, we've been stuck here for 10 years. And people are fighting over treatments that are going on for a month. So this is
well said.
I mean, we're in America. I mean, greatest country in the world. We should have the greatest treatment in the world and the freedom. If it's my choice to get this stuff, it should be my choice. And that's
Absolutely.
I mean, if it makes me worse and it makes me better, I want it.
So you do it again in a second. In other words, is what you're saying. Would you take NurOwn again if you could get it tomorrow? Okay.
Tomorrow, if it helps this community and it helps the next person. If it's not me, it's the next person.
Well, buddy, I want to say thank you for doing this today. Like I was really shy about coming out. I didn't want to come out last year, and I really just reached a point where I realized that it's bigger than my privacy. Frankly, I mean, I believe that your story is unbelievably compelling, and I think we all, just as patients, we have to fight. If we don't fight, we're going to continue to be treated the same way we've been treated for the last 50 years, and that's unacceptable at this point. Because now we have treatments. It's different. We're in a different situation now than we were even 5 years ago, frankly. So I want to say thank you, man. And I know that all the ALS patients out there are happy for you and support you, and we want to get more of this for everybody. We want everybody to be able to try this in this generation, not keep pushing the buck, rolling the ball down the hill. We want everybody to have it now because every life matters. We've lost so many, and thank you, man, for doing this. I really, really appreciate it. And it's probably one of the
Yep.
shortest interviews I've done because I don't think there's any doubt that you feel like it helped you, and I'm happy for you. Well, buddy, thank you, and we'll talk to you again soon. All right.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. And, thanks for everything you do, man.
Oh, thank you.
You're stepping out big for this. I mean,
Thank you.
doing a lot. I mean, it's
Well,
not easy for us to do anything, and you're kicking ass every day on there. So
I really appreciate that. That means a lot to really hear it from you guys. If somebody like you is getting this treatment, and we think you are, we don't know, but to hear it from you and to hear it from all these people has been wonderful. And I'm happy to do it because I need it too, And so
yeah,
hopefully I'll be experiencing the joy of what you've known soon, and everybody else will too. And you're going to help that. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
yeah, appreciate it.
All right, bud.